Recording is in progress. Reverend Peter Fairbrother is an ordained one-spirit interfaith minister based in Scotland. He serves with the intention of nurturing awareness of the importance of self-care, for it is in loving and caring for ourselves that we develop our capacity to love and care for others. He holds a diverse ministry, serving a wide range of people through chaplaincy and spiritual accompaniment, worship service, and sacred ceremony, including legal marriage and civil partnership in Scotland. He's also a sweetheart. I just love him.
Thank you very much for your kind words, Marcia. It's a delight to be back with yourselves. I'd like to begin by honouring the sharings that I heard, and I'd like to offer my love and solidarity to each of you at this difficult time. My sermon today will be in two parts with a musical interlude to support digestion and contemplation. I see on the screen that my words are automatically translated into subtitles. I trust that my accent won't mangle the subtitles too much, but I will provide a copy of the script of the service, of my sermon, after to Marcia for distribution. I'd like to begin with a provocation by the Buddhist teacher Adyashanti. And he says, for a lot of us, we can look at others who seem to be struggling and say, well, at least I'm not an addict. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't abuse drugs. But truthfully, almost all of us are addicts. And the deepest thing we're addicted to, our drug of choice, is actually suffering. The very thing we want to be without is the very thing we are addicted to. Not many of us will admit that. Not many people want to know that they're addicted to suffering, but when they look at it sincerely, we'll see that we have no idea how to live without suffering. We have no idea how to interact, how to be, what to do with our time and our energy if we aren't suffering. There's a piece of us that wants to suffer because it is through suffering that we maintain this wall of separation around us. It is through our suffering that we continue to hold on to everything that we think is true. Wearing the veil of suffering, we don't really have to look at ourselves and say, I'm the one that's holding on to everything I have. Friends, it's easy to see addiction as something out there affecting others, nothing to do with ourselves. Perhaps we might have ways of describing people with addiction to separate them off from who we think we are. We might call them junkies, or druggies, or wasters. And we label defensively to set ourselves apart from those we perceive to carry the affliction of addiction, the not us. Today, however, I invite us to consider this. We are all addicts in one way or another. At various points, each of us are inhabitants of what Dr. Gabor Mate describes as the realm of the hungry ghost. We are all constantly seeking something outside ourselves to curb an insatiable yearning for relief or fulfillment. We are all seeking to find ways to fill the void within us. Johan Hari's work, Chasing the Scream, explores addiction as a social construct, challenging the commonly held understanding of it as a predominantly medical condition. He states that as social beings, when we feel disconnected or alienated, we experience pain. Addiction, he considers, is a reaction to pain. For some, addiction is manifest in substance misuse. For others, it is found in dependence on a variety of other things. Perhaps some of us are addicted to the past, to holding on to how things used to be, or how we remembered they should be. Maybe some of us are addicted to always seeking the new, the next best thing. Perhaps we live in fear of self-reflection, such that we dare not look back at all that has come before. Some of us maybe might be addicted to rules and regulations, or anxiety and the need to get things right. Or we could be addicted to the illusion that we have control, or we can seek control, or that we can be in control. And some of us, reflecting as I hear upon the sharings this morning, some of those in positions of responsibility might be addicted to the chains of power. And then for others, there might be addictions to our professional identities or social roles, to the sense of security we derive from our sense of who we think we are in the work that we do. For without our sense of occupation, who are we really? And with this, it might be the addictions that we have of doing, of striving, of goal seeking or goal setting. Maybe we're addicted to the constant high of being busy. We, the addicted. Gathered here today, I wonder what each of us is secretly addicted to. And I wonder what would happen if we simply stopped. If we simply stopped and looked in the mirror, what would we see? Can we truly hold our own hand? Can we embrace ourselves for who we are? Maybe Adyashanti's right. Perhaps we are all addicted to our own suffering. And maybe this is the most uncomfortable truth of all. Friends, I'd like us to take a pause for some reflection. And I have selected a musical interlude, which I understand will play now, which is a song some of you may be familiar with. It's by two of your most wonderful artists. It's called Coming Around Again, sung by Carly Simon and Alanis Morissette. Thank you for listening, and I'll be back with you to share further after. Thank you. I've heard it said, that each minister, in essence, holds with them one sermon, which is delivered time and time again in a multitude of variations. I can attest to the truth in that. Reflecting on my own ministry to date, I see that truth, and I'm conscious of returning to some core themes in the services that I give. in the time that I share with others. The themes of self-love, self-care, connection, and community. I talk about these things because they are alive to me through the life that I've lived, the joys and the challenges that I've experienced, through the wounds that I've held and still hold, and through my various journeys towards holding and healing. In essence, they're part of my story. And for me, stories are important because each of us, all of us, we are our stories. Both those we create for ourselves and those created for us by others. Our stories are powerful because we inhabit them. We live them out for good or ill. For example, if I grow up feeling loved, I become that love. I shine that love into the world. Maybe not always, maybe not every day, but I hold it in my heart. Conversely, if I or we go through childhood being told that we are stupid or worthless or unlovable, this narrative can permeate our being to such an extent that we take on and act out these beliefs as our life unfolds. We believe that we're not worthy, or not good enough, or not lovable. And wounds such as these become the quiet yet insistent backseat drivers that steer our journey through life. Friends, the stories we believe about ourselves, some arising from our wounds, will inform the choices we make, how we are, and what we do. In essence, we become the stories we're told. And in certain contexts, we become their prisoner. For as long as we believe in them, we'll live them out in endless replay. In essence, friends, we become the addicted. Johann Hari asserts that addiction and recovery from addiction is everyone's business. To heal our world, we must first attend to our own emotional wounds. This is the work of the wounded healer, to journey into and through the wounding, to explore it, to learn from it, to be open to the possibility of finding ourselves traveling through it and from it to somewhere new. I believe we are all wounded healers. And with support and care and time and tenderness, each of us can nurture our capacity to be at home in the darkness of our own suffering and within it to find light, to source from it our own recovery. I'm amused by the following quote from the British writer Stephen Fry, who said, Oscar Wilde said that if you know who you want to be, you inevitably become it, and that is your punishment. But if you never know what you want to be, then you can be anything. There is truth to that. We are not nouns, we are verbs. I am not a thing, a writer, an actor. I'm a person who does things. I write, I act, and I never know what I'm going to do next. I think you can be imprisoned if you think of yourself as a noun. Wise words. I agree with Stephen Fry. And similarly, I think we can liberate ourselves through recounting our own story. And the path through isn't linear. In my experience, it feels more like a spiral, a constant coming back to things you thought you understood, to uncover deeper understandings, glorious, frustrating, excruciating, liberating understandings. Freedom from our addictions, from our old stories, from our wounds, can take a lifetime and then some. If we're prepared to do the work, if we're prepared to love ourselves enough to disrupt the cycle. Those of you who might have heard me speak previously might be aware or remember that I'm fond of the writer Jeff Foster, and I'd like to share some of his words about addiction and healing. He says, "We're only seeking ourselves in a million different ways, and addictions such as chocolate or alcohol or casino winnings never had the power to bring us home, ever. Our gurus never had the power we projected onto them. Addiction crumbles from the inside when we recognize how we are, in essence, which is naturally at peace, naturally non-addicted, naturally complete, without needing external people or objects to complete it or to validate us. The cycle of addiction is a cycle of self, and it can be broken right where it begins. This is the exploration that all addiction, and indeed all suffering, invites us to, whether we see ourselves as addicted or not. Some people ask, what is the opposite of addiction? It isn't sobriety, it's connection with ourselves, with each other. To return to Harry, his words, connection is all that will help you in the end. If you're alone, you cannot escape addiction. If you're loved, you have a chance. For 100 years, we've been singing war songs about addicts. All along, we should have been singing love songs to them. Friends, perhaps today, particularly today, in the climate in which we live, let us begin by singing love songs to ourselves and to each other. God knows we need them. I'd like to thank you for listening. I've chosen a hymn to bring to a close my sermon, which is, I understand, in your books, number 168. It's entitled One More Step. And I've chosen this in honor of all the steps, 12 or more, that each of us have taken, and maybe our loved ones have taken, and all the steps of those who have gone before us in whatever realms they've occupied. I offer this hymn as a blessing for each of us, for all of us. Onwards. Thank you.